Welcome to, again, our visitors. The theme is we're standing together for a sustainable planet. In our principles of Yogaville, ecological awareness is one of our central value points. Our commitment is to being good guardians of the planet. We're grateful to the beauty and bounty around us that we receive. As much as possible, we use natural, sustainable products and are energy efficient. And by this healthy lifestyle and by engaging in the yoga practices, we support our bodies and our community's natural state of health. We have a dual mission at Yogaville in terms of our environmental efforts. The first is to protect and sustain our community and our larger neighborhood community by standing against the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, which is unnecessary and a toxic installation. Our early outreach and beginning started with Ernie Reed from the Friends of Nelson County. In 2014, he came and explained how this pipeline would be representing the fracking going on in West Virginia and would be toxic and what we could do about it. From that, we began Friends of Buckingham. And from that, Yogaville Environmental Solutions also began. We reached out, had Lou Freeman from the Allegheny Blue Ridge Alliance come, and through our strategy building with Fenton Communications in Washington, D.C., we found it was necessary to join a coalition. And we now work with the Allegheny Blue Ridge Alliance, Appalachian Mountain Advocates, which is a top law firm, the Southern Environmental Law Center, which is another great legal support, the Sierra Club, App Voices, CCAN, VSEC from Charlottesville, representing students for the environment. We have great support in science from the Physicians for Social Responsibility, who have done research on pipelines and compressor stations, Wild Virginia, and NRDC, and many others. So it was part of our strategy to connect and grow stronger. Again, we have submitted, all of us in the community have submitted to FERC, we've submitted to the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality, and we have stood and represented our community to the Buckingham County planners and supervisors. We continue our research, consultation, and meeting. We had 2 Dominion meetings here. And of course, we found out that some of us actually, after studying compressor stations, knew a bit more than the experts from Dominion. That was sad. Okay, now we continue our outreach to media, legislators, and the local and state organizations. So the conclusion of 4.5 years of research is that the pipeline and compressor station are unnecessary. They have not been proven to fit to domestic need. We could, and we will hand you a handout from Thomas Hadwin, who is a good friend of ours, who's done research. He's worked for gas and electric utilities, that the underutilized pipelines we currently have are more than adequate for U.S. demand into the future. So we will talk about pipeline and compressor station dangers. These are life and death issues for this community. We know that gas pollution, the threat of explosion and fire are real threats. The community and residents are not assured by Dominion. So this is just an example. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, many of you know how bad fossil fuel infrastructures are. This is the explosion of a 20-inch compared to the ACP is a 42-inch pipeline in Highway 77 in Sissonville, West Virginia. And this melted the asphalt. They had to stop the highway, and there were homes damaged from it a mile away. It was a catastrophe. No deaths resulted, and that was the claim to fame, that no one was killed. So, this is a compressor station blowout. The facilities were burned, and the person who was at the station had to run a mile away to get help. This is the Durham Woods natural gas pipeline explosion. It was a 24-inch pipeline. It was a 100-unit apartment building. There was no evacuation plan. They all had to gather their children in blankets and run into the woods. Not a good plan. This shows you where the The green line is the ACP, and the orange line is the Mountain Valley Pipeline. Isn't it silly that we have two unnecessary mammoth projects coming from the same area of West Virginia and essentially to the same areas that are currently using Transco pipeline to supply themselves? But the idea is, as you can see, the Transco line in purple connects at the Buckingham compressor station with the ACP and at the Pennsylvania County compressor station for the MVP, and that way they can transfer gas up to the Cove Point liquid natural gas terminal, ship it across the country and to across the ocean to foreign locations. So we are keeping our eye on this. We think that's what these pipelines are ultimately going to be used for, if anything at all. So this is a hard to see map, but this shows you the relationship of the route, which is the dotted red line, to Yogaville facilities. The top yellow line shows it's about 3,300 feet to the Lotus Temple, which you all saw. The second yellow line shows it's about, I think, 1,600 feet to our Yogaville school, not a good thing, and about 1,800 feet to these residences below. And that does not even cover the fact that a real fire that from an explosion, you would have to get very far away very quickly, and emergency response is about 20 minutes away at best. This is the Buckingham County compressor station. Probable impact radius danger zone according to the data from PIPSA, the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Agency. The blue line is the ACP, and the triangle is where the compressor station is placed, and the red line shows the impact zone. And there's a little blue cross. You can see that's the church we will be visiting later. It's within that impact zone, and so many homes and other houses and residences are too close for comfort. In a poll that was taken locally in Farmville, 87% of the respondents were against the compressor station being built. 11% were for, and 2% had no opinion. So people are getting the message, and they don't want an industrial threatening installation here. We studied the ACP, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission scoping comments, and of all the comments, an average of 98% said it was bad for Virginia's economy, for the forests, for the water, for the health, safety, and culture. So this is not something that's popular for people in Virginia. So we know that the pipeline's not needed and not wanted. We have here all the research so we can back up what we're saying. The Synapse study talks about this is a necessary corporate project with guaranteed profit. There's an abuse of eminent domain. Keylog Economics did a study that showed that it was a negative impact of farm use, livestock, land use, legacy properties, and it's a threat to property values. And of course here it's a threat to our pristine environment, our natural views, and the wonderful air quality and the sound which we require for our operations, and so on. So we know that these things are threats. We stand with all of you to protect our lives from these hazardous installations. This is, we joined with ABRA. This is from the right, Lou Freeman, who's the director of ABRA, Joe Lovett, who's the chief lawyer for Appalachian Mountain Advocates, Rick Webb, who's a strong engineering person with the Dominion Pipeline Monitoring Coalition, and that's Greg Bupert of Southern Environmental Law Center. Got it. This is an early picture. You can't see the person up near the screen, but that's Chad Oba. Chad, you want to raise your hand? She was one of the early folks, along with Lakshmi Fjord and Dayananda and so many others, Divya, and other folks there. Oh, I can't remember you all, but once Ernie gave us a presentation, we went, we've got to do something. So we started Friends of Buckingham and Yogaville Environmental Solutions. This is a Hands Across Our Land event at Windjammer Bridge, where we joined with Friends of Buckingham coming from one side of the bridge, Yogaville and Buckingham residents on the other, and we made a party out of it, and we said prayers and honored the river. This is Dayananda at the VA Department of Environmental Quality in a pray-in, where we showed up to stand against Governor McAuliffe. This is the flotilla down the James. Divya Bertud, Laney's there on the left from Richmond, a big supporter of our causes. So we had a flotilla for environmental justice all the way to Richmond from Yogaville. This is myself testifying in front of the State Water Board, and the main message was, you're not even pulling them to the standard of a building permit for a home. And this is a huge, complex project. And I think they listened to us, and at least they've delayed this for some time, and there's going to be a chance for you all to comment, as we'll speak to you later about. And this is probably my favorite thing, is that this challenge has united so many of us, the community, Yogaville, and Baptists, and so many other people in our community against the ACP. So we are united in this. We know more about each other and more about the environment than we ever did before. Now I'm going to talk about what we're doing at Yogaville. We did a energy efficiency analysis in 2016, which led to all the things we're doing, targeting energy efficiency, which can gain about 10 to 20% improvement on our costs, as well as moving into all the departments, how we can save on paper, water, energy, tightening the envelope in all our buildings. So all of these things are low cost relative to installing a propeller for wind or for solar. So these things everyone can do. So we have a green team established here amongst our community to provide baseline measurements and to do improvement. Now we have found that up the top of our list, solar energy was one of the things we could benefit from. And we are partnered with Segura Solar out of Charlottesville, a world-class organization. We have about $118,000 a year in electricity costs, so defraying some of that is a huge benefit. Shivananda Hall, which we're in the Satsang Hall or auditorium part, includes the dining hall, the kitchen, and so much of our front area. And so the cost for that a year is $20,000, and we are working on defraying half that cost now with our solar panels that are in place. So, but we have to combine the solar with the efficiency to get the most out of that installation. So you all know that solar energy works. This is just to show that the way it works for us in Central Virginia is we generate the energy, we transmit it to our utility provider, the Central Virginia Electric Co-op, and they turn our meter back 1 kilowatt for the 1 kilowatt that we send them. So it's saving us about $1,000 a month currently, which is big time. Our plan is to install this solar array, study it, it's a pilot, then we will install a solar field. Likely that will be first down by the Lotus to power the Lotus, and then we intend to generate all of our power through solar fields, and as we can, to transmit some of that power to our community as well. That's phase one, is on the left, half the roof. That's on an 11-year payback and a 7% return on investment. The numbers on solar are astounding. Please look into it yourself, get your communities and businesses to look into it. Let's just move this thing forward and we won't need the pipeline. That's something we can all do. Solar fields could provide 100% of Yogaville's electricity. And our dream is a large solar field, driving clean energy, supporting our clean lifestyle, and our practices that lead to a clean mind.